Hi, and welcome to St. Mary's Episcopal Church. God forgives and loves you unconditionally. And God also calls you, in turn, to forgive and to love. But it doesn't end there. It's not just something that we are forced to do, but rather God invites us to receive forgiveness, and from that place of gratitude and love, to be able to extend forgiveness. You see, forgiveness is something that's pretty hard to do on our own. But Jesus walks with us and gives us the hope, the forgiveness, the strength that we need in order to walk that way of love. Forgiveness is a tricky thing. When we think about it, sometimes it's been applied in a way that doesn't work for us. People who abuse others might go to them and say, "You have to forgive me because Jesus told you to." That's a violent way, demanding a forgiveness. Forgiveness then, if you look at it from that way, seems like it's not holding people accountable, allowing evil to run unchecked, allowing people to be hurt. That's not the forgiveness that God calls us to. When God sees evil and injustice and abuse and racism in the world, it grieves the heart of God. Jesus wept. Jesus was filled with anger even when he came to the temple and he saw the money changers who were abusing the poor, not letting them have access to the temple, heaping up all of these burdens upon them. And from that place of anger, Jesus overturned their tables and drove them out to free the poor, to encourage them to have direct access with God. So how can we hold those things together in tension? The fact that even Jesus had righteous anger, and we can see the power of that anger, but also we know that God calls us to forgive. It's possible then, it seems, to be able to forgive and still be angry. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you. It is for your heart and your relationship with God. When you're able to forgive, your heart is lightened, is opened. There's more space in your heart for love and for seeking justice. You see, there are different aspects of anger. There's the righteous kind of anger that drives us to action, to change things, to work for good. And then there's anger that becomes resentment or hatred or desire for revenge. And that kind of corrosive aspect of anger is what eats away at us. That is what God invites us to let go of, to be healed from. In order to receive that kind of forgiveness and to give that kind of forgiveness, we come before God with open hands, saying, "Lord, help take this burden from me. Teach me to forgive so that my heart may be healed." God always answers that prayer. And from that place of being open, of having let go of those things that are eating away at us, we are able to see the world afresh. Forgiveness is a difficult thing to accept, let alone to give. In our church service every week, we have a prayer of confession where together we say sorry for the sins that we have committed. And then me, as a priest, I get to say to you that your sins are forgiven. It's not me that's forgiving your sins. I'm merely declaring to you what God has already done in your life. You don't need me. There is no separation between you and God, between your ability to hear God's voice speaking into your heart and healing you, helping you to forgive yourself and others. This past week has been a really difficult one. Our skies have been dark with smoke. It's been difficult to breathe as we consider all the fires that are raging across not just our state, but the whole western United States. We see the suffering and the pain that are happening to people, and we ourselves are suffering from separation during this pandemic, from everything that is wrong, from grief and from loss, from the sin of racism and the way that it is oppressing our society and the way that we are connecting one to another, trying to learn, trying to build something new. And with all of this weight on us, it's important to remember that it is okay not to be okay. That there's no waving a magic wand and making this all better. There's no way to shortcut or go around grief and difficulty. We have to just take one step in front of the other. And what we have to offer as a community of faith is knowing that you are not in this alone. You can reach out to the people in your life who you love and who love you. You can reach out to your church family, both to give and to receive encouragement and support. You can reach out to God in prayer, remembering that God is closer to you than you are to yourself. That God understands what it is to go through difficulty and pain and separation, even through Jesus feeling utterly betrayed and forgotten. God forgives and heals you as soon as you ask. The wounds that we carry in our hearts and in ourselves, some of them run deep. Wounds that we have carried long in our lives from the things that we have done to others and what others have done to us. And Jesus himself bore wounds into the resurrection. He still bore those wounds of his death, but they were transformed. Forgiveness doesn't take away the anger. It doesn't do away with the thing that was done, but it does transform it. It does set us free, and it does encourage us to act for justice, for love, and for peace in the world. My prayer for you this week is that you'll have time to sit with God, to open up your heart and receive that forgiveness, to offer that forgiveness to yourself for whatever it is that you are going through right now. To be gentle with yourself, to love yourself, to ask for God's help in doing that, and in turn, to receive what it is that you need in order to take the next step, living your life each day, walking the way of love. I hope to see you soon.